Have you ever stopped to, really think about social media? It's more than just posting pictures or chatting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It connects us globally, but sometimes, yeah, it feels isolating too.
Right.
It teaches us stuff, but then misinformation spreads like wildfire. How can one thing be so contradictory?
It's complex. Definitely.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into social media itself. You've given us this fantastic set of sources that really tackle this duality head on, from everyday use, how it shapes our identity, right up to its global impact, and even the tough issue of cyberbullying.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how these sources give us such a holistic view.
Mhm.
It pushes us beyond just our own screens,
Mm.
to see the bigger picture, societal impacts, global ones.
Yeah.
So our mission really is to pull out the key insights, connect some dots that might not be obvious at first, and help you grasp the full complexity. We're looking at not just what it's doing, but why it's become so, well, indispensable and often perplexing.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the basics. How are people actually, weaving social media into their daily lives? Your sources paint a pretty clear picture, right? It's an almost everyday kind of thing for lots of people.
That's right. It often starts with checking the news in the morning, news tracking,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe connecting with friends after school,
Mhm.
Instagram, WhatsApp, that sort of thing.
Right.
But it's also become this personal learning space, too,
Mm-hmm.
developing interests, getting general knowledge from, say, educational pages.
Oh, yeah, finding contests, events.
Exactly. But there's a catch mentioned, too, isn't there?
Yeah, the constant notifications,
Mhm.
the unnecessary content that just eats up time.
Right. A potential time waste. It shows it's powerful, but you have to manage it consciously.
Definitely.
And this daily interaction, it directly shapes something really crucial,
Hmm.
our digital identity.
Ah, right. How we appear online.
Yeah. The sources say that while, our online self is generally consistent with reality, yeah, it's not entirely the same. Think about it. People tend to share the positive stuff more.
The highlight reels.
Exactly. Like books read, achievements, travel, hobbies, fun things. They often shy away from sharing, say, stress, sadness, personal struggles, maybe fearing exploitation.
That makes sense. You want to protect yourself.
Right. And the sources actually say this isn't necessarily about being fake. It's framed as most people want to present themselves in a certain way, and this is a normal situation.
Okay.
The goal, maybe ironically, is to try to appear as they are,
Yeah.
but avoiding that fake image while still curating. It's a real balancing act.
That idea of a curated, maybe idealized version online, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. How does that evolve over time, according to your sources? Does it change how we actually express ourselves?
It's a fascinating evolution they track. You might start just, sharing funny stuff with friends, casual.
Yeah, typical.
But then it can mature into something more uh, conscious and purposeful. People
Purposeful.
started engaging with bigger topics, maybe
Mhm.
social issues, environment, cultural events.
Okay, so it gets more serious.
Sometimes, yeah. And alongside that, there's this growing awareness of digital privacy. People start sharing their private lives more limitedly.
Right, locking things down a bit.
Exactly. It's like a journey from just casual sharing to, well, a more thoughtful, maybe even strategic self-presentation. It shows how we learn to use the platform not just for fun, but maybe for personal branding or wider engagement.
But of course, it's not all positive, is it?
Right.
Your sources definitely brought up the shadow side. Addiction came up, social media addiction. How does that actually feel, according to the sources?
Yeah, that constant pull. The feeling of needing to check notifications all the time,
Mm-hmm.
spending way too much time just scrolling, staring at the screen. And it can lead to this feeling of detachment from the real world.
Right.
And the sources suggest this isn't just about willpower.
Yeah.
It's partly the design, the algorithms.
Just getting you hooked.
Precisely. They learn what keeps you scrolling. So that constantly checking becomes a really hard habit to break for a lot of users.
And it seems like making a conscious effort to find balance is a big theme here. Because your sources also talk about ways to cope, right?
Yes, definitely. Practical things like setting limits on usage time.
Muting notifications, I know I do that.
Yeah, muting notifications, trying a full-on digital detox sometimes, and crucially, actively strengthening those face-to-face relationships, getting outdoors.
So it's not just about cutting back online, but boosting the offline stuff too.
Exactly. It's about learning to, as the sources put it, monitor and keep their digital world in balance, which is honestly a vital skill today.
Absolutely vital.
And building on these challenges, The sources also hit on something more painful, cyberbullying.
Right.
There's a really poignant personal story in there. The person didn't experience it directly, but saw a close friend
Oh, wow.
get constantly criticized and humiliated over social media, and the impact was described as just psychologically devastating.
Devastating. That's a strong word. And did the sources offer ways to help in that situation?
They did. Clear steps. Making the friend feel supported, first off. Recognizing it is digital violence.
Not just words online.
No, exactly. Advising them to block the bully, obviously. But also to collect evidence.
Screenshots and things.
Yeah, and seeking legal action if necessary. And, very importantly, getting psychological support.
That support piece feels key. And the sources make a really chilling comparison, don't they? Saying cyberbullying can be as destructive as physical bullying.
It's powerful. Yeah.
It really underlines this dual responsibility. We need to protect ourselves, but also we can't just stand by if we see it happening to others.
Absolutely. And this isn't just individual incidents. It's framed as a growing societal problem, especially for young people. It can lead to depression, loss of confidence, social isolation, serious consequences.
So what are the proposed solutions on that bigger scale?
Well, things like digital ethics and safe internet use lessons in schools. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, starting early.
Raising awareness with families, too. And strengthening the legal side, the oversight of platforms. But the core message seems to be about cultivating respect and empathy online, just like we expect offline.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. How has social media reshaped how society communicates? Fundamentally changed it, the sources say.
Oh, massively. That shift towards instant messages, stories, posts.
Quick hits?
Yeah, leading to interactions that are often described as more superficial and rapid, sometimes replacing deeper face-to-face talk.
And there is that point about young people using emojis, visuals, preferring ready-made messages almost.
Right, over maybe composing their own thoughts in writing. And the sources suggest this could negatively impact language use, even social skills.
Interesting.
It's a strange paradox, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you have this incredible global communication network, connecting people across huge distances, different geographies.
Right.
But then the sources make you ask, how sincere, how deep is that communication, really, when
Yeah.
it's also fast and visual?
That's a good question. And thinking about what we consume online. Influencers came up. Their significant impact on youth.
Yeah, they become these powerful role models, affecting fashion, lifestyle, even thoughts, political views sometimes.
What's the appeal there? Why are they seen as more accessible and authentic than, say, traditional celebrities?
I think it's that perceived directness, like they're talking right to you, bypassing the old media gatekeepers.
Right. Feels more personal.
But that accessibility has risks. The sources warn about potential manipulation, misleading guidance because of ads, commercial interests.
Sponsored content reality.
Yeah. And just the spread of misinformation based on unverified opinions. It really highlights the need for critical thinking, being a conscious consumer of digital media.
Beyond individuals, what about social movements? The sources called social media a very effective tool there.
Hugely effective. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they can mobilize thousands of people so quickly.
We've seen it, right? Environmental campaigns, human rights, women's rights, going global.
Definitely. It transforms digital chat into actual real-world action sometimes.
Which is amazing for democratic participation.
It is, yeah. But again, there's that other side. The risk of information pollution, manipulation.
The same tool can be misused.
Exactly. So the sources stress using that power ethically, consciously.
Okay, digging deeper. How does all this shape our actual perception of reality? The sources say social media largely shapes it.
Yeah, because we mostly see the curated stuff, right? The happiest and most successful moments of others' lives.
Yeah, highlight reel again.
Right.
Why?
And it can really blur that line between real life and virtual life.
And the psychological impact of that, especially on younger users.
It can be significant. Idealizing other people's seemingly perfect lives, feeling like your own life doesn't measure up.
That feeling of inadequacy.
Yes, because the filtered content, the fictional shares, the sponsored posts, they present this, well, false reality. It creates psychological pressure, can damage self-confidence. It's a strong call for, again, critical thinking, questioning what you see online, finding balance.
And just thinking about news and information flow, it's been revolutionary, hasn't it? How social media disseminates information globally.
Absolutely. Compared to old media, news can hit all corners of the world in seconds.
And we're not just consumers anymore. Users are producers too, creating the content.
which is empowering. But
Yeah.
that speed and accessibility is the perfect storm for misinformation to spread just as fast.
So it's a real dual-purpose tool, as the sources say. Information and disinformation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which makes digital literacy just
Yeah.
critical. It's easy to get information, sure. But getting accurate information, that's the mandatory skill now.
Okay, this brings us to a really interesting point. How this varies globally. We think of it as one thing, but your sources show striking differences in how people use it country to country.
Yeah, it's not monolithic at all. Like, individual expression and freedom might be more prioritized in Western countries,
Okay.
whereas some Asian countries might show more, say, collective, regular, and controlled use.
And even what it's for differs, like news versus entertainment.
Right. Some places use it more as a news source, others more for entertainment, sharing daily life. And think politically. In restrictive areas, it can be a voice for opposition. In democratic ones, maybe more of a social networking tool.
So what drives those differences?
Well, the sources point to things like the tech infrastructure available, censorship practices, societal values. They all shape how it's used. It really shows it's a global tool, yes, but with very local flavors.
And despite these differences, it's also increased cross-cultural interaction massively, right?
Well, unprecedentedly. People can instantly connect with others across the globe,
Yeah.
see their traditions, languages, lifestyles.
Which sounds great for cultural awareness, tolerance, maybe breaking down prejudices.
Ideally, yes. The sources note it can support all that. It can be a bridge.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Well, there's the caution about cultural homogenization. The risk that dominant cultures, often Western culture, might overshadow local ones.
So it can be a bridge, but also potentially a threat to diversity.
It's that duality again.
Yeah.
Both things can be true.
Okay, finally. Let's talk about global crises. Social media's role there seems critical, but also complicated.
Very true. The sources give clear examples. During the pandemic, it was used for health info, communication, solidarity, boosting morale.
Right, keeping people connected.
During natural disasters.
Right.
Rapid spread of aid calls, coordination in times of war, information flow, shaping public opinion. Huge impact.
But the downside is always there, too.
Always. During those same crises, it can absolutely fuel misinformation, panic, amplify the chaos.
So the takeaway is,
Conscious use is key. It can be a powerful tool for resilience, for helping society cope, but it has to be used carefully because it's so open to manipulation and misguidance.
wow. So wrapping this up, what your sources have really laid out for us is just how deep and complex social media's influence is on us as individuals, on society globally. It really is that double-edged sword, isn't it? Connection, learning, activism, but also demanding critical thinking, conscious engagement.
Absolutely. And maybe if we connect this to the bigger picture, as we keep weaving these digital spaces into, well, everything, the question becomes, how do we make sure all that convenience, all that connectivity, how do we ensure it doesn't accidentally overshadow our fundamental human need for, authenticity, for deep connection, for actual verified truth, both in our own lives and in the wider global community?
Yeah.
That's the real challenge, I think.
That's a powerful thought to leave with. We really hope this deep dive helps you feel more informed, more ready to navigate this ever-evolving digital world. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and definitely keep those insights coming.